Hello there. Hi, welcome to Makers TV. Today I'm going to tell you about the 5 steps that you can take to create a strategic plan for your business that you can use in any area of your business. So not just to create a business plan for your whole business, but maybe a marketing plan or a strategic plan for social media or product releases, anything like that. So, hello, I'm Michaela Danvers and I run themakerscollective.com.au and I publish weekly episodes delivering short, sharp, actionable lessons to strengthen your brand and help you grow your business. So our first episode, which was 9 episodes ago now, we're up to episode 9, which I'm really pleased about. In our first episode, we actually talked about my concept or my philosophy of the core strengths of your business, and basically that if something is going wrong in your business, I think that it's usually one of those core strengths that is weak or suffering, and things that you can do to make sure they're all like strong and working together to make sure that your business is strong is all forms part of this core strength concept that I have. So today we're going to go through, we're up to, I think I've talked about maybe 5 of them already. So today we're going to talk about your plan, going to delve a little bit deeper into your plan strength, and more specifically the steps that you should take to create a strategic plan that works for you and your business to ensure your success. Now, I am running on not very much sleep at the minute, so I do apologize if I am struggling with words, because right now I'm struggling with life a little bit. But there's a motorbike going past. But I just think it's really important to come in here every week to help you guys, strengthen your brand and move forward in your business. So that's why I'm here, even when I'm running on only 5 hours sleep. And I shouldn't complain, because I know a lot of other people are much worse off than me. Anywho, let's jump into it. So your plan is probably one of the most comprehensive areas of your core strengths, because it really is all inclusive of all the other areas also. So everything else in your business, your customer, your product, your marketing, everything else really impact your plan and how you are actually going to implement that plan. So I often refer to the plan as a bit of a map. I know a lot of people sort of refer to any sort of business plan as your map to get to success, that kind of thing. I kind of refer to it as a map because I think a lot of the time people don't actually take the time to work out where they're going. So it really is a path to that end point. And I think it's really important to note that it's basically impossible to follow someone else's map and end up at the same point, because your end point, your success, is going to, probably may look quite different to that other person's endpoint and their success. And your path to actually get to that endpoint will vary greatly to anyone else's path, because you have your own experiences and skills to bring to your journey and your business venture, and you have your own individual financial and family circumstances to take into account, and a whole raft of other elements that are completely unique to you. So following someone else's blueprint without any modifications or changes to that plan can often really lead to a lot of frustration when it doesn't actually work out for you the same way that it did for them. So there's a lot of I guess business coaches and stuff out there who, or content marketers basically, who are saying take this 10-point system and you'll become a millionaire, or some version of that. And we find that you try and follow along with that plan and it just doesn't work for you, because first of all, maybe that $1 million mark is not where you want to go. Maybe you're really just wanting to make an extra $20,000 a year, which is very different to making $1 million a year. So just in that first instance, you're going to be doing a lot of different things at a lot of different levels to the person whose map or blueprint you're trying to follow. Anyway, yeah, so there's a lot of people out there doing that. It's very frustrating. Lots of people are sort of buying into these courses or programs or whatever, and it's not working the same way for them, because their situation is just completely different from anything that the other people are sort of teaching or, suggesting that you try or do. So I think it's just really important to understand, firstly, know where you're going, because that's going to be quite different from a lot of other people. You really need to spend quite a bit of time working on what you want your business to look like in a certain period of time. So 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, what do you actually want to be achieving? And if it is monetary, that's fine, but it's also really important to look at the non-monetary value of your idea of success. So is it flexibility that you would like? Is it really being challenged every day that you would like? Is it being in charge of other people that you would like? You really need to figure out what that looks like to understand where you're going. Then the next thing is you need to look at where you are now. And you would assume that if you're not, yet achieving the success that you would like to achieve, you're not at that place. So where are you now? And what are you starting out with? What skills do you have? What do you have under your belt that you can start with? And also looking at your limitations, I suppose, in what is achievable in what sort of time frame. So, for example, my kids are getting a little bit bigger now. I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, so I have a little bit more flexibility in what I can achieve in a day. But I mean, if you're pregnant now or just have a little newborn baby at home, possibly you're going to be more restricted than someone who has kids in school already, depending on how well your baby sleeps. But at the same time, maybe you have a baby that sleeps all the time and you do have a lot of time that you can dedicate towards doing business tasks. So you really need to take into account where you are now and what you bring to the table, but also what your limitations are. Then when you have that point in the future of where you want to go and where you are now, what happens in between? So you need to figure out all the steps that happen in between those 2 points and then make it happen. So let's look at the 5 steps that will help you create a plan that works for you and not just for other people. So this plan could be created for your business as a whole if you're putting together an actual business plan, or you could use it as a marketing action plan or a growth action plan, or around new product releases, as I mentioned at the beginning, and the plan really works for any area in your business. So my philosophy really is to start big with your big idea, break it down, and then get it done. So the first step is to come up with a yearly focus or intention. And basically what that means is, I guess, like what do you want to focus on for the year? So do you want to focus on creating? Do you want to focus on planning? Do you want to focus on growth? Do you want to focus on, it could be a whole range of other things. It could be awareness. It could be anything. It could be learning new skills. Just decide what that sort of focus for the year is going to be. And then that will guide you throughout the year to, it's sort of like a goal, but it's not really a goal. It's just basically what you would like to, what your intention is in terms of your business. So it's quite broad and it can change, but it's good to have sort of a guiding, not star, but a guiding principle to sort of work out all the other steps of your plan. So the next step is to have, where are we? Quarterly goals. So I talk about goals quite a bit, and I usually talk about them in terms of the SMART goal system, and I have a whole lot of blog posts and stuff on that on the website. If you want to check out themakerscollective.com.au, you can just search goals. A whole bunch of stuff will come up. I'm not going to go through it now because I'm already up to my 8-9 minute mark, and I always try and keep these videos really short, hopefully under 10 minutes. So I'm not going to go through it now, but feel free to check it out on the website. But basically, when you're doing, the reason we do quarterly goals instead of yearly goals is it's very hard to stick to a yearly goal. A year-long goal is, it's a really long time, and it's really easy to sort of fall off the bandwagon. So just as an example, maybe you want to save $10,000 in a year. If you just say, I'm going to save $10,000 in a year, and by the 6-month mark you haven't saved anything, then suddenly you're saving $10,000 in 6 months, and that's really difficult too. So what you might want to do is actually break it down into quarterly goals. So I'm going to save $2,500 in the next 3 months, because $2,500 is much more achievable than that larger 10 grand goal. So that's one reason why we break it down into quarters, is because you can sort of chunk it down a little bit into sort of smaller chunks and more achievable goals. But also 90 days is just a good amount of time to be able to get a good amount of work done, as in it's not too short in that you don't have enough time to actually complete a project, but it's not too long that it really drags out and you sort of lose interest, or, you know, it just, you're not getting like that positive reinforcement that stuff's actually happening. So if you come up with sort of 4 quarterly goals for the year, and also the thing is too, you don't generally plan your whole year at once. You do it every 3 months. So I like to sort of think about my first 2 quarterly goals, but I only do this activity for the first quarterly goal. So I only do it for the first quarter of the year, the first 3 months of the year. And then when I get to like February, March, then I will be doing my next quarter, and then so on. So I don't plan out the whole year at the very beginning or at any point, but I try and do it every sort of 3 months and go from there. So it's sort of always updating, and then also you can reassess your goals. So if they're not really in line with your intention or your focus for the year, then you can, you know, swap stuff around and just be a bit flexible about it. So you have your quarterly goals, and then what I like to do is break that down into monthly priorities. So what do you need to do in order to make that goal happen? And usually I think you can break it down into 3 strategies, and so I then make those strategies a priority per month. So if I was doing something like so maybe my goal was to increase my mailing list signups, maybe one of my strategies would be to optimize my website in order to do that. So I might have, a range of different things coming under that one strategy in order to increase signups to my mailing list. So I've got my monthly priority, and then I break that down further into weekly tasks. So if we're going with the example of optimizing the website, maybe one weekly task is to create content for a download that I want people to download, like give me their email and they can download it. So I'm creating that content. That's one of my weekly tasks. Maybe another weekly task might be like creating the opt-in forms on my website or something like that. What is important here is that you only want like 1 or 2 weekly tasks per week. You don't want 10 in a week, because they won't get done, and then everything falls apart and you feel bad, and then everything, you know, piles up and you're busy, and it just is not, the plan falls out the window sort of thing. So it's really important to make sure that you're only sticking to 1 or 2 weekly tasks per week, and then you're also breaking those down into daily action steps. So if my weekly task was to create the download of whatever it is that I'm going to create. So for example, in relation to this video, I have a download called Plan Your Year, which you can get for free. So maybe my daily action steps would be to first research the content that I was going to put in that. Maybe another daily task would be, action step would be like create the actual design in InDesign. Another action step might be to then export it as a PDF and get it, send it to someone to check over, get edited, proofread, something like that. So you can also have several daily action steps. You probably wouldn't have only 1 or 2, but the idea is that you want to sort of batch these tasks together. So you're doing all the like tasks at the same time. So all your daily action steps will be relating to your weekly task, and you kind of just do it until it's done, and then it's done, and then you move on to the next thing. So that is the basic idea of the Plan Your Year system, which, as I just said before, you can download in the free resources section of the Makers Co website, and I've put a link in the description of this video. And that's all there is to this little system that I've kind of devised. So there's 5 steps, and as I said, you can do it for any area of your business. So let's say with that example of growing my mailing list, maybe that quarterly goal feeds into the yearly focus of growth. So maybe I'm trying to grow my business, grow my customer base, grow whatever else, my just following or, audience, whatever. And if one of my quarterly goals then was to grow my mailing list, maybe the next quarterly goal might be to grow my Facebook following. And I would then have different monthly priorities and weekly tasks for that. But the idea is to focus on one thing at a time. And as I said, you can use this system for any area. So if you're working specifically on marketing, then you can have a marketing plan that you break down into these steps. And yeah, it just really helps you to focus and really sort of move forward in your business rather than just working every single day, making the thing that you're trying to make, and then you kind of get caught up in just doing that daily business task, and you don't really spend any time thinking strategically about where your business is going or how you're growing it. So I've gone a little bit over the 10 minutes. I apologize. A 15-minute one again. Sometimes it's hard to keep these really short. But if you would like to know anything else about creating a strategic plan for your business, strengthening your brand, growing your business, you might consider joining the Makers Academy, which is a membership for makers and creatives like yourself, perhaps wanting to sell your own stuff so you can replace your 9-to-5 job with something you're a bit more excited about, which is what I would love for everyone here. So you can go to www.themakers.academy or just click on the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you found this valuable, please feel free to share it with your friends, family, anyone else that might enjoy it. And yeah, I will be back next week to share some more goodness with you about the core strengths of your business. Thanks so much, guys. I'll talk to you later.